start, so I don't know where you keep saying that, but I'm here as a taxpayer.
Oh, okay. I thought you were council.
I am a council
Oh,
person.
okay, all right,
But first of all, I'm a taxpayer.
got it.
I know you guys are going long. Can I say one more thing? The council has said repeatedly that the jail is an important thing. We're all on the same team. We want to figure this out. Jack Krause sat in that seat right there and said that the Delaware County Jail was a $15 million project and it went to $30 million. And just to quantify for everybody here what that means, the amount of money that would cost to service an additional, 15 to $18 million in debt is we would have to fire every police officer, every ambulance, EMT, paramedic, and that still wouldn't pay the amount of money that we're talking about if we had a catastrophic overrun like the Delaware County Jail.
But why was that? Was there a reason why they was overran? Because nobody was watching?
It was just poor construction. I mean, no, they had all kinds of issues with contractors. And the only, this is my personal opinion, the only mechanism that will guarantee the absolute total price of the of the job is a construction manager at risk. It's the only mechanism. Jack can cap his fee, but he cannot guarantee the cost of the subcontractors. He cannot guarantee it.
We don't even know what they are until we start
Well,
looking at it.
regardless of what they are, he cannot guarantee them. And that security is why Marion County, Fulton County, all the jails that are going right now, to the best of my knowledge, have all gone with a CMC. That's my personal opinion. I'm not saying that's what you guys have to do. I'm sure we can work together, but especially the farmers in the community, we're obviously not going to fire every single one of our police if this project went belly up. We're just not going to do that. So what's really going to happen in practice is we're going to have to pass a huge property tax levy to fund all this, and we're talking about double. I don't have the numbers. I could calculate them, but it would be probably close to a doubling of the property tax rate.
That is if we don't do our deal.
Right, but I guarantee when the Delaware County Commissioners were sitting here, they didn't think, hey, I'm gonna have a $30 million jail instead of a $15 million jail. And that's just the worry that I have. I just wanna make sure that we're looking out for the taxpayers and giving them as much as we can give them.
Sitting here tonight, that's why we're here.
Thank you.
But we still have a motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor right now that we will hire a construction manager. Is that right?
I second that.
You seconded it. All in favor, say aye. 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 That's settled. Now,
We need to decide if Jack would do,
yeah,
a cap on the,
our next
are we
question is, do we
legally
want,
bonded at this time with Jack? That's the first thing we need to find out. Then we need to ask him
what's it bonded? Tell me this.
if we, or not bonded, but, if it's still a legal contract with them not funding.
Oh,
Which their attorney's saying it's not, our attorney's saying it is. I wanna know for sure that we're still not in the contract, or if we are in a contract.
If they said that they would not fund the contract, then it is dead. I understood that it was that they would not fund it unless it was a CMC.
And then when we find out how it is, we'll listen to the
That
tape.
wasn't the motion.
That wasn't the motion.
That wasn't the motion.
So the contract with CCI
Is that,
is dead.
okay. So we got that
All
all
on board.
Okay. So now what we have to decide is, are we gonna open it up for bids, start all over on that? Or are we going to go back to Jack and put a not to exceed in it?
would that satisfy the people of the room? Because, he comes highly recommended, and you get one chance to do this. We got one shot.
You have plenty of time to open it up.
What's that?
You have plenty of time to open it up.
We have time to open it up.
Yeah, and still get bids and start by spring.
We do both.
Yeah, we can do both.
Yeah, we'll do it not to exceed.
Yeah.
And you get those bids.
And then you can go negotiate with whoever you choose, whoever you trust. You can say, Jack, look, this is what we have, and, you know, would you do this? Would you do this? We need the cap. Could you lower your rate? Let the negotiations begin.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Well, I got a concern because the president of the council said right there, that we should do the other way. So he's the one gonna vote against it, and we get the other one to vote against us, so we're back to square one. I think everybody's goal here is to save money for the county. And God, I couldn't pay the farmer's tax, holy cow. Bad enough to pay mine on the 63 lot I have. But, you know, the people put me here, the people want me to redo it, so it's been done.
Did Jack do the Delaware County one?
I don't recall, I don't think he did.
No, he didn't.
I mean, I think, I don't know. Maybe we need to give Jack the opportunity to come back with a different contract that we all can agree on.
Why do you object to opening it up for bids?
I'm just want the best in the business to do the job right the first time. That's me. I'm always saying you get what you pay for. We learned that doing some other contracts a couple of years ago. We took the lowest bid and it kind of bit us in the butt all year. And I don't want that.
Well, I would think you would take the bid based on price as well as qualifications, and checking qualifications, not necessarily price.
Is what we were expecting last time.
That's correct. If you do it qualifications based, you don't even ask for the price. You interview them and ask them to show us your proposed contract, give us a resume of your qualifications, a resume of your experience, and an interview. And then you determine which one that you like the process that you went through for the bridge. And then you negotiate a contract with that individual.
You know, we're stuck with a contract that the council might not like and not fund it,
That's
so we
right.
start all over.
That's right.
Remember one thing, your architect has a lot to do with this, so make sure whoever you hire can work with your architect. So your architect ought to have a little
That
say.
is a very valid point. That's one of the reasons why we picked
We
this bid.
found out in the hard way that way, you know, I can tell you that. I've had a project manager that didn't agree with everything the architect does, and you wanna fight in the room, that's a fight in the room. So, make sure your architect can work with the guy you hire, or the girl you hire, whoever.
That was one of the valid points on this situation where we're at. I mean, if they don't get along, then you never get, and then you go, well, I'm gonna price this up, just because you did this.
Yep.
I mean, there's so many scenarios, it's not even funny on this. I'd like to go back to Jack and see if he would put a cap.
Not do it, not open it up.
Yeah, I think we need to ask Jack if he would do a cap, then go then to the bid process.
We have time, so
Yeah.
we have time to do that now first.
Yeah.
So Ted, could you contact Jack?
Sure.
On that, on some of the flaws that our wonderful public brought up to us, the issues,
Sure.
and see what,
You want a cap on it, right?
If he's willing to do that.
if he's willing to do it.
Okay.
If not, then we have to go open the bids.
Well,
I don't know if that's
you've either got to negotiate a new contract with CCI or open it up.
That's what I would assume, when we just put in another contractual bid, just like the rest of them.
Just open it up.
Do we know, vendors, and maybe, we can get some suggestions from, it would be construction managers, but not, because of this approached by anybody.
Yeah.
This new process has been new to me.
Mike Fincher had mentioned, I think it's Mike Miller, maybe, I'm not sure, from Wing, WIGAMD or something like that. Yeah, and I had told him that you had put that on hold, so he might be willing. The other one was that Josh had brought in that Shrewsbury, but she said she had never done it in the jails, so.
And that's another thing, you don't have very many people out there that's actually done jails as construction. You know, that kind of limits it too. You know, I know somebody's built 30 or 40 jails, I don't know one guy just built one and thinks he's experienced, cause everything's different. I want somebody to be able to think on their toes and be able to help us when we need the help.
You want somebody very knowledgeable in jails, that's all good.
Yeah, you're not building a standard jail or a building.
Well, that would cut it out quite a bit, because you know that there's a lot more people that build schools than that build jails. There's only 91 jails in the state of Indiana, so. I don't have any idea of the schools, but there's lots of them.
So I guess we'll need some kind of a motion to say that we're gonna take bids on construction managers. Our project is $14.5 million. You bring me a contract, not to exceed. But how are they gonna do that? Cause they won't know what their cap needs to be. They can underbid themselves and hurt themselves.
Well, you don't base it just on price, you base it on, like I said, qualifications, experience. And if you wanna specify that they have, multiple experience building, being a construction manager on multiple jail projects, you can put that in there. That might weed out the number that you gotta even look at. You wanna do that?
Sure.
How many you want them to have experience doing? How many? Half a dozen?
You don't want a guy that just put one up yesterday.
You want ones that you can actually see and talk to the people that you work for, probably.
Does Mike know anybody?
Yeah, and there's probably only 4 or 5 that you're gonna wanna talk to, and then one will wanna talk to you.
Is there a comment?
Yeah, I guess I was going to ask that when you, whatever you decide to do in the next immediate step, if you could maybe invite the council to a joint meeting at the decision-making process. Because if you are all in the room at the same time to make the decision, hopefully you'll get a consensus and you won't be, or not, and you won't be at least you won't be bouncing back and forth. You'll have the opportunity to have open discussion with each other at the time, and you both can make the decision, both bodies can make the decision at that time.
If they're part of the selection process, they need to be hearing presentations presented to us, so they know firsthand.
And I think that's incumbent upon the council to do so, if they're going to be part of the decision-making process on the appropriations end of it. Should they not be part of the evaluation? I get that you have a different decision-making authority than the council, but if the council's going to have a hand in it, I think they should have the opportunity in open meeting to be with you in a joint session to make that decision.
I'm gonna probably get in trouble for this, but I think it also goes the other way around. If the council is going to talk about the jail project and, for instance, what they did on Thursday, and I know, but my thing is, I wish, in looking back, that maybe they would have tabled it and asked for a joint session to talk about this contract. And I think feelings and working together would have been a lot better. It's just my opinion.
And she's caught in the middle.
Pardon?
I said, you're caught in the middle for some.
Yes.
I wasn't at that meeting, but I did view it on the YouTube channel.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
I know.
And
I forgot about that.
what bothered me most was the vote of 6-0. That bothered me the most. So I know it was a misunderstanding, or we have a lot of resistance. And it's really hard to get a project done like this with that much resistance.
We may have to face a situation that we might not get it done.
That's correct.
What would be the outcome of that? Like, if we don't end up building, how much would we have to pay on that?
How would you hit it? Depends how far
I
you go.
think we'll get it done.
If you stop the project, they'll send you a bill and you'll be done. Yeah, it depends when it is. The longer we go, the more it gets to be.
That's my biggest concern, is that we're not gonna be able to come to agreement between the two bodies.
Well, it is not what I'll do to you. It's what the state of Indiana, the jail inspector, and
Just go cost $300.
pretty much, there's nothing good I can predict about that outcome.
Yeah?
Mr. Brown, I think, I'm trying to get my arms around it. I think what maybe Mr. Blues talked about, the biggest concern is the catastrophic overrun, all right? So it seems simple to me that a motion would be made that we make sure that it's capped, and whether it's the architect or Jack, as long as those costs are covered, and we know what we're getting, and there's a cap, you're gonna end up with Jack anyway. You can put it out for bids, but I'm going home, but that's my prediction. You'll do that, Jack will change his contract, he'll put a cap on it, and that's who you're gonna end up with.
Well, it's gonna be, you know, just to be real truthful, it's gonna be real difficult to convince me to go with somebody else, because I've now worked with him for several months now, and asked him lots of questions, and he's always been very, agreeable to answer and to steer me on, because I know nothing about building a $14 million jail. And, so it's gonna be tough to move this seat out of vote for him, unless advice was just completely different, and we had somebody just really impressed us. Yeah.
We have a good council, we have good commissioners. I think I appreciate him not wanting it to go over $15 million, but you can fix that. Jack just needs to change his contract.
I agree.
This overrun of
Thanks, Jeff.
Delaware County has come up before, and we asked Jack specifically about that, and he said he'd never had one like that.
Well, he explained to him, put in his contract, he's not gonna have one like that here either.
You know, you guys gotta remember, Delaware County, I don't know where that came from, but Delaware County's Muncie, Indiana.
Yeah.
And they've been trying to get a jail done for the last 4 years, at least. And they know they needed a 40 million. It's a big county. You got a lot of population, way bigger. Carroll County's probably 3 times the size. They need a 400 or 500 bed jail. And there was no way they were gonna do a 500 bed jail because it was 50 million. And they had a budget that was supposed to be 15 million, but that's because somebody convinced them to go buy, to take one of the local elementary schools as a gift, and turn it into a jail. So somebody told them they could do that project for $15 million. I had nothing to do with that project, but I looked at all of the stuff, and I told our marketing guys that I don't even go after that thing. It's a loser. It will not be done for 15 million, and I ain't gonna be the one that's gonna stand there when the bids come in at 30 or 40. Because the reality is the jail, or the school could only be used for the sheriff and some of the interview rooms, and, you know, it's a school building, there's nothing hardened about it. So everything new was the jail. That's the expensive part. So it doesn't surprise me if you made $30 million. Jeez. And I don't even know if that's really a hard number. That's what I heard today. So, you know, I'm so far out of that. It doesn't surprise me. It should have been 45 or 50. That's what they want. That's what they need. And we walked away from that one.
My experience in Muncie, they need 1,000 bed.
Yeah, well.
Started out at Ball State, spent my first 2 years of purgatory there, so I know.
Yeah, I have one more question.
Sure,
One more answer.
that's fine, I wanna hear from you.
If anything, I've not read the contract, but if anything, if you think, sitting here thinking about what we did, make sure your project manager in your contract says he'll be there. They'll have somebody there every day. Make sure the contract is okay. Meredith says the contract says that, okay.
Somebody on site That's the way I read it.
Yeah,
So buy on site every day,
that's part of the deal.
cause you don't wanna be the one that has to make the decision if they're not there.
Yeah, I'd probably put the electrical on the ceiling, be my choice.
Yeah, that's part of the contract.
I still like the idea of breaking big rocks into little ones.
Well, hey, we can just throw some
Says
tents
that
up for the
every-
summertime and just eat the cost in the winter time.
Yeah. Okay, so we have made a little progress here. We decided we're gonna have a construction manager and not a CMC, not a construction. Okay. Are we going to open it up for bids? What's your pleasure, gentlemen? You want a construction manager?
I'm kinda like you, I like who we chose.
You what?
I said, I'm kinda like you, I like who we chose. Council's got the concern of the money, and I understand that 100%. Maybe we have our attorney contact him and see if he would do a cap. And if he don't do a cap, then we have to do some other work. What would a cap be? And that's the question. That's the big question. What would a cap be? Because you don't know what the construction costs are doing. And that's what he's coming off of.
Well, if you ask
He's not
him
the
to
software.
give a maximum cost, he's gonna put it up there high enough that he's not gonna hurt himself, that's for sure.
And that'd be with everything.
And then, as Dave said, if you put it up there, he's gonna hit that, you know he is.
Everybody's gonna hit that.
So the architect say that the hard cost construction was 12.5, is that what you're thinking? So maybe set you a floor somewhere.
Say it again, Dave.
Architect said he thought it was 12.5 million for construction costs,
Yeah,
so set you a floor somewhere. He's only charging you for the construction costs, not the soft costs.
right.
Right. And he'll probably come back and say, that's what I'm gonna do anyway, it's just the construction.
Well, that's what I'm saying, I know.
And he sat there and said that, but still, what'd you say it was, 750,000, Josh, is that what you was figuring on that? And I think everybody else would be about the same.
Plus recoverables and plus pre-construction services.
And if you guys get along with him really well, and there's a good relationship, and the bids come in a lot less than that, he's gonna do the project for you. He's works for you, not for the construction people.
Right.
He's working for you, so if it comes in at 10 million, then he's gonna charge you whatever 5% of 10 million, so.
Like 12.5 million, 5% is 625,000.
So maybe some of the little fees that's in there could be adjusted.
What do you think, guys? You wanna go back to him first, see, or you wanna open it up?
Well, it's we all want him to.
You know what?
We all want Jack as a project manager. Council wants to make sure we don't blow our budget, and I understand it 100%. So I think maybe we go back to Jack and say, this is our concerns through Ted, that he can email us each individually, and we can have a joint meeting with the council and tell them this is what we got, and if they don't agree with that, then we go to open bids. But if we do that again, I'm still gonna pick Jack. I'm sorry, but I think he's the right man for the job. But if he can do us a cap, I think that would help the council's decision, I really do. And I think to move forward, because I really don't wanna be in a position where I started over there on council, and the way it was with the commission. That was horrible, first 2-3 years I sat there. And that's all we did was argue and complain, and I think we got a darn good working relationship with each other right now. And that's just-
Lauren?
To that motion?
If it is, you're gonna repeat it.
I don't repeat the whole thing, I'll suggest that.
I suggest that we go back, my motion would be we ask Jack to put a cap on $12 million construction cost, and see if he can eliminate some of the fees that the council has concerns with in the contract.
What was that last part?
Some of the fees, like, what was it you brought up? I didn't,
In,
I just made an example,
contract?
yeah,
if there were errors and omissions on the project manager or construction manager's, work, that the council pays for that insurance or bonding on those errors or omissions. That was just an example, but there's many other open-endedness areas in their fees or their costs that they would pass on.
We can have them give us suggestions.
we can always, it'd be public record, so we can always go back to the last jobs he's done and get their final cost and review that. On
Well,
this project.
all that's kind of a moot point, because what you're concerned about is you said $12 million, and you're asking for a cap, so if he bids 5%, then that'd be 600,000 that it will not exceed. Period. Simplify it.
The only one I see is the professional liability, and all the others are included.
So where's that cost? I have no clue.
They're not for a construction manager, I don't know what that was.
And that's on top of this, if we put a cap of the 600-some thousand, the insurance and the liability.
The cap should include everything. It will not exceed.
He should be able to estimate his travel expenses, his out-of-pocket costs, insurance costs, and everything, include that. I do services work, I'm Dave Pickens, I'm Miriam's husband. I do services work all the time, I don't add 10% to my out-of-pocket expenses ever, so it's billed at cost, especially if it's a, higher ed or a government job, I don't add that 10%. And we also put a cap on our expenses as it relates to our fees. So if I do a fixed fee bid for $500,000, my fees do not exceed 17% or 18%, depending upon the location and where I'm going. I know, and if I have to travel there 2 or 3 times because of personal business, because I need to come home, that's on me. That's not on my, my client. So he should be able to cap his expense based upon his estimation of the fee as well.
So I'm just asking for a cap.
Okay.
That'd be one. No cap on.
I'm right.
What would be the, I mean, you're estimating 12 and a half construction cost?
12, 15, I don't know, it's gonna be in that range, 12 to 15.
So we do 12 and a half, 13, so
Whatever. Whichever.
which number do you? Cause if you say 13, he's gonna cap it. Then if he's, if it goes under,
Well, the total cost, including everything, can't exceed
14.5.
14.5, so there's me down around 12.
I'll make a motion for 12.5.
5% of that.
That's everything. 12 and a half, 5% of the 12 and a half. That'd be the goal. Right.
25,000. We have a motion. I think so. Can we read it back? Either one of you, can you read back your motion so that Lauren knows what he's seconded or not seconded?
I think I know about my.
I just wrote down.
I just wrote down that, go back to Jack to ask him to cap the 12.5 million construction costs and eliminate some of the fees and contract the first time, and then next time you said 12.5 million at 5% cap not to exceed. Try to get him to do that. I will fix this, I mean, it's messed up.
But then again, we might, say, hey, you know, I wanna come do it.
That's true, and we will have to enforce it all this.
Well, I guess they'll eliminate it, then we'll,
Well, if you don't ask, you don't get.
yeah, you gotta ask.
That's, negotiate. So you can negotiate with them, talk with them, and negotiate with them. If-
That's awesome. Yes.
So the second, okay, so, let me, before we take a vote, make sure that we're all three on the same wavelength. We are going to go to Jack Kraus and ask him to cap the construction costs at $12,500,000, and of which his fees will be 5%, or a cap of $625,000. Did I miss anything?
And, add back that his contract under 2.6.5, he would pay the professional liability insurance. Because he's paying all the other insurance.
Okay.
Right now, he says, if the contract says if the owner pays the cost, if the owner wants professional liability insurance. So I don't know what that number is, but that's what.
Is that part of your motion?
Should've added in there.
He will pay this.
Yeah, he would pay the professional liability insurance premium. And it's probably based on the same kind of number of costs, what the project value is.
Okay, Steve, is that in your motion? Sure. That is. Is it in your second? Okay. Then in that case, I would call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Passed unanimous. Is there anything else we need to discuss?
Comments from the public?
Any more comments from the public?
Are we heading on the right track?
I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So said.
All in favor, say aye. We are adjourned. Hey, thank you all for coming to this, showing interest in it, and your expertise. I appreciate it very much.
I don't know if we voted down or not, but just for clarification, I know Steve had asked me about the age of our current jail, it's actually 36, not 39.
I know, I did the math. I thought, I don't think it's 39 years.
Well, I was thinking, I don't know why I had that 9 on my head.
2019.
I was, wait a minute.
Yeah. I did the math and I thought,
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it very much. Yes.